Welcome, friends, to the 286th edition of Unlocked. It is the world's #1 Xbox show. Coming up on this week's episode, some big Destiny full sequel news. Don't call it Destiny 2 quite yet. Also, a game you may remember from a couple of E3s ago has had a very curious cancellation. We'll talk through that, as well as some Mass Effect multiplayer news and a few notable release dates. So stay tuned for all of that. But first, I'll introduce the group. Destin Legary, as usual, to my right.
Hey, everybody.
I'm Ryan McCaffrey. Sean the Shark Finnegan.
Chomp chomp.
Sitting in with us this
Thanks for having
week.
me back.
Marty Sleeva.
It was a big hearty berry yawn. It's been a very long week.
Yeah. Right? And it ain't over yet.
And I'm flying at 8:30 in the morning to PAX.
Oh, yes, PAX.
That'll
You're
be
going to have a good time.
Yeah, we'll be there. If you're in Boston for the weekend, come say hi. Sean and I will be there along with Alana. We have a couple panels from 2 to 3 p.m. on Friday. You can come to our IGN AMA, where you can literally ask us anything about the site, and we're going to answer it. No holds barred. On Saturday from 3 to 4, we have a panel about how video games are stupid, but we love them for that. And then also from Saturday, something really cool from 12:15 to 12:45, Alana and I are going to be doing a mini episode of Unlocked from the Microsoft stage.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so that'll be
great.
cool. I think we're going to be doing it while playing. They were like, do you guys want to play a game while doing it? And we're like, can we play Banjo? And they said yes.
There you go.
So that's like your dream
That
scenario.
is our dream. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's making it real.
Yeah, so come and say hi to us.
I wanted to start off by making sure everybody sets their expectations accordingly for this week's episode. It will 100% not be as good as last week.
You saying Sean isn't a good replacement for Phil Spencer?
Come on.
Hey,
Ryan, I'm
yes.
right here.
Hey, I don't
I'm
have a
right
pen
here.
this week to drop awkwardly and have 1,000 comments about.
That was the
There's a
best
big thread
clip.
on that. Yeah.
There's a big thread on that. Yeah.
It was
Phil just
so
gave me,
great.
look, I've never had such a smart, powerful, important man give me such a what are you doing with your life look. It's like usually one of you guys being like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I feel bad almost that like the clip that's out there is great, but where I was sitting, it was way funnier.
Oh, yeah.
It was just like,
Because the play unfolded right in front of me.
well, it was also
Yeah.
the reason I had that was because we were doing news breakouts because it was
Yes.
a really great interview where Phil said some incredible things from the questions you asked. And you asked something, I don't know what it was about Scorpio or about E3 or something. I was like, ooh, and I went to write it and my hand stopped
too
working.
excited.
Yep. So
But how you went to write it was so crazy. You rocketed the pen out at
It just, went off.
maximum warp.
It went off, and I looked, and Phil looked at me. I was like, oh. No pens this week.
it was great to have Phil here. I want to thank Phil again publicly, which I already did privately. But yeah, it was just so cool of him to take an hour plus out of his busy GDC week. He's the guys like that have just meeting after meeting. So for him to carve out the time to come on in here was really super cool. And I think the feedback I got is most people seem to enjoy that episode more than most.
I mean, we've had the opportunity just working in the industry and working closely with Microsoft from time to time on our coverage to meet and hang out with Phil a bunch of times. He's always super genuine and very cool. But I also love when he's on camera. He really gives off this aura of this sense like he's very much thinking about how to answer these questions in the way that he can without dodging it. And I think a lot of people,
I think that's a good way to put it.
I just saw a lot of the comments who were like, he's very honestly and genuinely trying
He's
to answer
candid.
these
And
questions.
he's a guy who
Yeah,
obviously cares. Yeah.
People respect that. Gamers respect that. I respect that.
Well, as a parting gift after that show last
Yeah.
week, Marty, you were given full control over the Blinks license.
Yeah.
This is public.
Twitter is legally
On Twitter,
binding.
yeah, it can't be undone.
Yeah,
Phil
Phil
gave you the IP over Twitter.
Yep.
So I have the exclusive with you now.
Yes.
What are you going to do with the
Listen,
Blinks
this is a news
IP?
breakout. Mark the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
My pen!
I'm going to give development to the Fulbright Company. And with what they did with Gone Home, where it was sort of a story of a young girl's sexual awakening,
Yeah.
I feel like we can marry that with the time-traveling vacuum cat. So we have this time-traveling vacuum cat, but what happens when he falls in love with maybe another
I'll tell you what happens.
another alley cat?
Bestseller.
Yeah, 9.5 IGN.
Yeah.
Game
I
of
don't
the
think-
year.
I feel
Game of
like,
the year.
yeah, I don't feel like I can review that. Also, full disclosure to the 3 people who thought that was real. It's not how Twitter works. Not how things work. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Also, I couldn't keep a pen on a table. What do you think I would do if someone was like, "You have control of an intellectual property"? I would drop it on the floor because I was hungover.
And to be fair, when we weren't sure what was going on with Blinks like 2 years ago, we actually looked into what it would take to
Yeah.
acquire an IP. If
It wasn't that much money, or was it?
it was
like
it was just a
$40.
lot of legwork.
Yeah,
Not
it was
really
way more
pretty much
effort than
like-
money.
Yeah.
And I think we got a soft agreement that Nathan Vella from Cappy said he would make the game.
Yes.
So once Below comes out,
Yeah. Or we'll put him on it.
Yeah.
We'll put him on
Perfect.
with the best man on the
That's
job.
how game development works.
And it'll be done.
Yeah.
It's fine. All right, let's get to the news, and I want to start with these two gentlemen flanking me. Shark,
I'll sit out on this one.
Yeah, you and me both. I played Destiny when it came out, but not since. You guys have been just carrying the Destiny torch. You do Fireteam Chat, IGN's Destiny podcast.
Yep.
We got some serious Destiny. Don't call it Destiny 2, but it's actually Destiny 2 news. This week, Bungie finally talking about what's going to happen with the sequel. So what can we expect, guys?
All right. So we don't know too much about what the game's going to actually be, but we do know about your character's progression into the sequel. And basically, your appearance in your class will go. None of your weapons or gear are going to. So they will preserve character customization from the first game for any player who has achieved level 20 and completed the Black Garden story mission. I'm fine with this. I'm fine with a clean slate. Sean, how do you feel?
I feel the same way. I mean, Destiny 2 gives gamers the opportunity to jump into this big franchise, and people were making the argument that, like, in one regard, it may seem a little bit antithetical to wipe all of the progress you've made with coming into the sequel for players who've been playing since the beginning. But at the same time, like, your character's appearance, like the actual character itself, will persist, and that also gives people the opportunity to not feel alienated when they're coming into this new franchise. Yeah. And for me personally, like, I love Destiny and I love the community so much that, like, more people coming in is better. Yeah. So I also am not opposed to this. I like this.
I'm happy your character will persist, but I mean, that character creator was so basic. You couldn't do a ton. I hope they improve that aspect in the sequel.
Yeah, it's interesting to be like, is your character going, if you bring your character over, is it going to look sort of basic compared to someone who jumps into Destiny 2 and makes a brand new character?
Point.
Or so I imagine you'll be able to, like, tweak your character.
I hope so.
This is game, what?
Like Mass Effect 2, when you die,
like I was saying,
you can remake your character.
What? You die?
Yeah, so when you went...
I'm almost done with 1.
Oh, sorry.
Well, so, like, when you went from Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2 and you imported your old character... it did give that character like a slight level bonus or something that was negligible in the long run of the game.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Maybe Destiny could do something like that.
They are going to reward players who played the original, actually, with emblems or something. I don't remember what they specifically said. And also, there was some news about how they're sending Destiny off into the sunset today. They revealed that they're bringing all the raids up to 390 light level. They're going to have a rotating raid every week. You can play the raid. You can get a whole new set of armor from the raids, and that's really exciting for longtime players.
Yeah, especially because, like, a lot of the people who've been playing since the very beginning of Destiny, those raids, we remember them very fondly, and mechanically, that first raid, Vaults of Glass, is still by far the most difficult one. So to play that at newer light levels with the challenge and enemies scaled up to your level, it's going to be a grand old time, and I can't wait to get into it.
I feel like, as somebody who, again, is kind of a lapsed Destiny player, I feel like their solution for character stuff from Destiny 1 into Destiny 2 is about the most ideal situation, because you can still give you experienced players and you continued players some semblance of a connection to your character that you've put so many hundreds, if not thousands of hours into, but without putting people like Marty and I who walked away. Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, there are ways to do this really smart, and like one of the ways I always bring up is moving from Diablo 3 to Reaper of Souls. One of the things that one of the things that Blizzard did to reward players who had played since the beginning was your character in Reaper of Souls has these angel's wings, and it's just cosmetic, but it looks really, really cool. Yeah. And players who came to Reaper of Souls newly were like, "Whoa, what is that item?" And then people would say, "Well, I played Diablo 3 before Reaper Souls," and you were like, "Oh, that's really cool." And that doesn't put you at a disadvantage, but it rewards the players who played from the beginning. If Destiny could do something like that with ornamentations, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Also, for players like Marty and Ryan who played a little bit then bounced, they are making it more cinematic, more story driven.
That's what
they learned to my ears.
They learned with Taken King that works. What they launched with does not, and people called them on it.
And I'll say, I mean, I think I've said this on the show before, but there is, and this is no disrespect to Bungie at all, but there's basically nothing they could do at this point to get me back into Destiny 1, because I just, the ship sailed.
Sure. Yeah.
I know Taken King was supposed to be a big improvement and some of the subsequent add-on content, but yeah, with that fresh start with Destiny 2, I will absolutely be back there on day one to give that new story, that new game a fresh look.
There's such a long line of games where the proper sequel took like a really solid core and made something incredible out of it.
Yes.
Borderlands.
Yeah, whether it's
Effect
Borderlands,
2.
Assassin's Creed 2, Mass Effect 2, Watch Dogs 2.
No, Mass Effect? Mass Effect 1's the best Mass Effect.
Oh no, I
It is.
agree. But systems wise and inventory wise and gameplay wise, Mass Effect 2 took a huge improvement over.
So
1.
I had a horrible moment playing Mass Effect yesterday where I made it to 95% through the game and my Ashley was never racist, and I had a conversation with
yeah.
her and she got super racist.
It's totally racist.
She got insanely racist.
Yeah.
I made it almost to the end of that game being able to tell people when they're like, she's a racist. I'm like, not my Ashley. Yeah, my Ashley's awful.
Yep.
Jesus, I should have left her on that
Hashtag not
planet.
my Ashley.
God.
Welcome to this realization.
10 years later.
One thing about Destiny that's really cool, bringing it back to the game at hand, I do want to say it's really cool that we can talk about this character progression and you guys actually have something to say about it, you guys who haven't
Yeah,
played.
that's cool. Yeah.
That says a lot about the sequel and how people seem like they're, well, for us, we have to give it another chance. We have to editorially speak about it.
Of course.
But I think a lot of people from the community are going to be like, all right, let's see what you did.
Yeah, I mean, I think Destiny is the potential to be one of the 3 biggest games of the fall, you know, along with like Red Dead and Call of Duty and Battlefront.
It's a huge product for Activision. It's in their top
And I think
3.
deservingly too. Like it's kind of frustrating for me to kind of always jump into the Fireteam chat comments and see those same old haters like no story and stuff. And I'm like, listen, man, the game has evolved so much since the time it launched that I think that if anyone has done enough to earn players a second shot with the sequel, like it couldn't be anyone but Bungie.
Yeah.
Like what they did with Taken King is like for all intents and purposes basically a different game.
I mean,
Lots of great storytelling, character development, cinematics, cutscenes, like a narrative through line that makes sense, all the stuff that kind of Destiny 1 was missing. If that's your main complaint, well, listen, that's in the game now, and I think they're going to do way more of it in Destiny 2.
If the last generation, like the 360 PS3 generation, was sort of in my mind, its mission statement was the like emergence of the open world. Everything's an open world game, you know, whether Ubisoft's making it, whether it's a Batman game, whether it's GTA. Whereas with this generation, I feel like one of the big things is games as a platform. And Destiny, The Division, you know, Rainbow Six Siege. These are games that when they come out, they're one thing and they score a little bit low. But by the time you're a year or two out, like these are completely different games.
Yeah,
that,
they
like,
evolve over
yeah,
time.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
evolve.
very true.
Yeah.
One game that unfortunately will not be evolving anywhere. Oh,
no.
Is,
Good segue.
Right? You know, I don't know how to make lemonade out of lemons from that one. But if does anybody out there remember Dean Hall's game Ion? It was announced on Microsoft stage at E3 2 years ago, 2015.
If you don't say Dean Hall's Ion,
I do
no.
not
Yeah,
remember that.
legitimately,
I
if you're
do
like
not
Ion was
remember.
canceled, I would have been like, huh? But it was like Dean Hall's. I was like, oh man, that was on stage 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a big. All we got was a teaser trailer that suggested it was a very large scale spacefaring game. And that teaser, that idea looked really great.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it has been canceled. It is, and which.
Rip.
We can't say we're necessarily surprised because I don't think there's literally been a public word of that game spoken since then.
I would literally not be surprised if you look at our object if the 2 stories are Ion revealed and Ion canceled. Like, those literally might be the 2 stories.
You might actually need to look that up while
would
we're
be really
reading
funny.
this
That's
because
really funny.
you
I
might
mean,
be right.
Funny that situation funny. Not funny that the game's gonna
Yeah.
cancel. We had Dean Hall in here a long time ago to talk about DayZ on the original Up at Noon back with Greg Miller, and I got the chance to meet him, had a photo taken with him. Dude's a super sharp and interesting dude, right? Like comes from the military and had this great like life story, and like I really respect guys like that and their ability to kind of take that live experience and synthesize it into something really, really interesting like he did with DayZ. So it's kind of a bummer to hear that this game, which I had heard nothing about since then, is off the shelf or not coming to the shelves at all.
Do we know why it was canceled, Ryan?
Yeah, we've got a little bit of an explanation here. So it was a co-development situation with
Sorry.
Is that what it
There's
is?
4 stories to the
4
object.
stories.
E3 2015, Ion announced from the creator of DayZ. E3 2015, American Truck Simulator announced. E3 2015, Podcast Unlocked episode 199.5. DayZ creators Microsoft exclusive Ion has been canceled.
Oh man,
I don't know
well,
what that truck simulator thing. Did
Yeah.
that game ever come out?
Is that the
Sure
same
how that got in
thing?
there.
Why is that tagged with that object?
Probably something I just missed.
You know who wrote it? Mitch Dyer.
blame Mitch. So yeah, we've got statements from actually both of the co-development parties. So here is the non-Dean Hall side, the studio called Improbable. They said, Ion was initially conceived as a project for co-development between Improbable and Rocketworks, which is Dean's outfit. A lot has changed since then. Dean Hall moved back to New Zealand from London. Rocketworks has started on a number of other games, and we have grown increasingly into a platform for games to be deployed on a cloud-based development solution called Spatial OS. We can definitely say that Improbable is not currently working on Ion. However, we have not previously commented on and cannot now comment on Rocketworks' current or future plans. In other words, we're out. We don't know what Dean's doing, but we're not involved. And then Dean says, we're not actively working on Ion. No, I am not involved in that, nor is Rocketworks Studio in New Zealand. When I look at Ion could only happen with a company like Improbable with the scale of technology like that, and that's not a game we could do alone. So
yeah, like this isn't, to me, this is like, that's interesting. It's not like Scalebound or Fable where it was like, oh man, what a bummer.
Yeah, we didn't have anything emotionally invested in this.
What was that other game that got canceled that was like just a name? It was a Microsoft, it was like an Xbox exclusive that was like literally just a name, Project something maybe. It wasn't Milo. I don't know. There's no, if I don't know it,
I remember Project Milo.
It wasn't Milo. Poor boy.
Milo and Kate. We hardly knew ye. So yeah, like I said, it's tough to be upset when we never got the chance to be hyped up in the first place. But hopefully both parties here will be able to move on to more prosperous ventures.
Especially because DayZ is so good.
Yes,
that is such a good game.
I'm surprised they got to a point where they were able to announce, and then it just seems like they hit too many roadblocks and had to cancel it. But I mean, if that's what's best for both these studios, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. You go into a project with the best of intentions, and you probably think, well, maybe we're pretty early on, but boy, Microsoft's offered to have us on their stage, so let's get a trailer ready. Yeah, you can't say no to that.
We've talked kind of at length on different episodes about the idea of announcing games before they're ready, or long before they're ready, or if
Bill
they're
talked
too
about it in
long
your last
before
week.
they're ready. Yeah, and he expressed kind of a hesitance going forward about being smarter about how we announce that. Just out of your guys' perspectives and your opinions, like, would you like it if games kind of like as an industry did the whole thing where movies do, which is like when you see the trailer, that movie's basically done at that point?
Yeah, I think Fallout 4 was sort of the line in the sand of more and more people doing that.
We're seeing Mass Effect do that right now.
Mass Effect do that. We saw, Watch Dogs 2 obviously last year. I would put money down that a lot of games that we see in the next couple months are going to be the big fall games that we don't like. I mean, Destiny 2. We haven't seen Destiny 2. Call of Duty does that every year. We haven't seen Call of Duty this year. We haven't seen Battlefront. We know they're coming. Like,
I would say maybe the game's done, but they're still doing a ton of just bug patches, like internally, before they do that green disc and ship it.
Yeah.
I mean, they definitely have everything there, and they're just like refining.
Yeah.
Like that's what it
is.
It's
also it's tough though because it's almost impossible for anybody to really keep a secret nowadays. There's just too many people and too many moving parts involved where things leak out, and then the big companies freak out because the messaging for their $100 million thing is wrong, and if it starts, it can quickly get out of control. So it is a really tough line to walk. But yeah, I think you're right, Marty. I think the industry's starting to evolve into what you're saying, Sean, of just be more of more certainty with the marketing. I mean, Blizzard, when I was growing up, with Diablo and Diablo 2 and certainly StarCraft 2 more recently, and pretty much everything Blizzard's ever worked on, they'll announce it like 3 years in advance.
Yeah,
heck, they had Project Titan, which never came out.
Yeah,
it
which
sort of morphed
became
into
Overwatch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So but I think we're starting to see the industry get a little more wise to that stuff.
It's just super interesting for me because I compare movies and games industries a lot, but and movies have had their issues with this in the past, specifically recently with The Rock and Vin Diesel with that kerfuffle over Facebook, where it's not so easy to keep people's opinions and what they say under wraps. But for the most part, when you hear about a movie for the first time, like that is very much a studio decision. Things are rarely leaked. There are some mistakes here and there, but by the time you see a teaser or see a poster or hear a casting announcement, that stuff's been in the development for like months at the time.
Yes, with the caveat of, what was that day, like 3 years ago, when Marvel was like, here's every X-Men, or here's all the Marvel movies until 2020. And you're like, I might literally be dead by the time Inhumans comes out. Now it's like, that's not a real movie.
Well, I mean, that's an interesting use case because that's the superhero phenomenon where both Marvel and DC are trying to...
Star Wars is doing the same thing.
Yeah, trying to lay the groundwork for the foundation long into the future, which I'm not really on board with either.
Movies also start their PR cycle like a year in advance, usually before release.
Yeah,
right?
it depends on the movie, but
like Fast 8, that's been being marketed for a year about. And gaming, I think it's a little bit tighter. Like we were talking about Halo Wars 2. That started a few months, like it started to ramp up again a few months before launch. And,
there's an art to it, and there's no right or wrong answer.
No.
It's just you sort of have to do.
I mean, we've talked about this. Most games can't get away with the Fallout or Mass Effect thing of we're not showing you anything until 6 months before the game's out. Like most games can't get away with that. I mean, less is more. I remember. Pardon me if I've told this story before, but I was such a Diablo fan as a kid. So Diablo came out. I was 16. So then there was Diablo 2, which ended up shipping in 2000. So I'm a teenager at that point. But Diablo 2 was announced like 3 years before it ultimately came out. And this is in the early web days when this is going to super date me. But if any of you old people like me remember Microsoft Front Page and sort of those early tools you could use to make your own website, because otherwise you had to code everything by hand. Like
I did it by hand.
Front Page was one of the first things where it was sort of the
doesn't even ring a bell.
WYSIWYG.
It's an HTML generator, basically.
Yeah, basically.
You lay out how
and
you
so
want it. It makes the code for you.
I actually got together with a few other people on like a message board or a bulletin board or something and started a Diablo 2 fan site. Like, I was so excited about Diablo 2. And I think that fan site must have been up for 2 years before that game came out. I mean, and it's just like you get to a point where like,
yeah, I mean, that's also, that seemed like, especially when you look at the first party conferences last year, that it feels like a very philosophical difference, whereas most of the big games on Microsoft's conference are out or we've played them, whether it was, Gears or Halo Wars or Forza or Inside or We Happy Few, or at least we got to play Sea of Thieves. Whereas all the big games at Sony stage, like how many of us have played God of War and Spider-Man and Death Stranding, and
we saw it,
but it's
somebody else play it.
It's worked for them.
Oh no, it's totally
it's totally worked for them.
Super hype, but like those 3 games I just mentioned, I doubt any of them are out this year. Same thing. I doubt Detroit or Days Gone is out this year.
Is that what they're going to keep doing? Like announcing games that are coming out in 5 years?
I mean, it's working for them right now. Well, I think it's like a reactionary thing on the gamer's perspective, because like when PS4 launched, like the whole thing was like, where are all the exclusives right now? Like in this moment, right? There was that period leading up to the holidays in like, I guess it would have been 2014. That's when it launched, right?
2013.
Before it launched.
2013. So maybe it was 2014 then, but I can't remember.
They're good now.
But everyone, all the PlayStation 4 owners were like, "Where are my exclusive PlayStation 4 games?" And now it's like, here are all these exclusive PlayStation 4 games, and the gamers are like, "That is awesome," even if it'll be 5 years before you play it.
Yeah, I mean, but it is strange. You make a good point, Marty. It's the philosophical difference is unique, but I mean, you heard Phil state pretty clearly here last week, whatever they show on stage at Xbox's press conference this year, it's probably going to be out by 2018, most likely. It's highly unlikely we're going to be seeing any 2019 or 2020 titles.
Yeah, that's one of the things I really like about E3 is how different each of the conferences are. I mean, you look at E3 last year for Nintendo, was just like, oh yeah, we just have Zelda. We're just doing
it. There it is.
And everyone was like, that's insane. And then the game came out and everyone gave it a 10.
But it's one of the greatest. It's so good. Speaking of Zelda, just remember, I've been playing that game so much. It's consumed my life.
Yeah,
it's fine. Link screen, unlock screen, it works. It's fine. Totally fine.
Destin.
Yeah.
So bad news for you as a Mass Effect super fan, but good news for Marty as a PAX East attendee.
Yeah.
And Finnegan, because I'm going too.
And Sean Finnegan.
Tagging in at the last minute.
Yeah, so Mass Effect Andromeda, they canceled their multiplayer tech test. That was canceled, but it's going to be playable at PAX East.
Yes.
I didn't know which one it was.
Yeah.
The one in Boston.
Yes. So we're gonna go hands on with the Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer for the first time. It'll be the first time anyone goes hands on with it. We'll get our impressions up right away. But then, the public there will be able to go hands on with it too. And then there's also Mass Effect has a panel, I believe, from noon to 1 or from 1 to 2 on Friday.
There's 2 panels on Friday. There's one that it's either noon to 1 or 1 to 2 Pacific. I'm trying to figure out Pacific time. And then there's one later in the day.
It'll be East Coast for anybody who attends. So
East Coast.
Whatever time that is.
So anyway, there's that. There's 2 on Friday actually, and it's going to be an exciting weekend for people who get to play it. Marty.
Yes, I'm going to play it for using my vast Mass Effect 1 knowledge.
Yeah.
Also, going from playing Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect Andromeda is probably going to blow my mind.
Yeah, you're making quite the leap right there.
Yeah.
And then the following week, the week after PAX, we may have a little something special
we
in the
do
works
have
here.
something special.
With regard to
I like
Mass
how you were
Effect.
like bad news, Destin. I'm like the game's out in like 2 weeks. You're gonna be fine. Yeah, like that's a good wait. He's got enough Mass Effect stuff on his plate right now.
I played a little bit of Mass Effect
We're-
in Edmonton, and one of the things to come out of that is the multiplayer thing we're revealing next week, Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday the 15th. Just still locking down the time. It'll be around noon or 1 Pacific time. We'll have the BioWare crew in here, and they will be showing off a bunch of new multiplayer stuff that you don't see at PAX.
Were you a big multiplayer guy in Mass Effect?
Mass Effect 3's multiplayer is pretty decent,
Yeah.
actually. I played it again recently on my stream thing, and people are still playing that game. They have like a ton of people still online playing multiplayer. It's kind of incredible, and it's because of the Xbox backwards compatibility.
Yeah, and I bet people are like jumping in now, especially to sort of get
Hyped up for the new game.
Makes
and
sense.
also the EA Play stuff has made it super accessible. If you have EA Play, you have all the Mass Effect games in their entirety, all their
EA
DLC.
Access.
Sorry, EA Access.
I made the same mistake one or two shows back, I think.
EA Play.
Yeah, thank you.
EA
for
Play
That's
is their
their E3
E3
event. Yeah.
EA Access is their $10 a month or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Game active library service.
yeah, it's a pretty cool service.
So just a few more release dates to finish up with. It's kind of a dead news week, which is fine.
Dude, after last week,
Oh,
I'm
I'm sorry,
totally fine with
Horizon,
that.
Yeah,
Zelda,
seriously.
Mass
I'm
Effect
totally
around
fine
the
with
corner.
that. Yeah.
Prey in May.
Last week was
Justice 2.
hellacious,
I'm
man.
good with a slow news week.
So Sniper Ghost Warrior 3, which is a game I think not necessarily a huge chunk of our audience thinks about, but those games do huge. Those are really popular games, and I'll tell you, they came in here, did a video. It's on IGN maybe a month or so ago. I really liked it. It kind of had a bit of a old school Ghost Recon feel to it. You can. It's
Ghost Recon.
a little open worldy, but you can play it stealthy. You can go all out, guns blazing. I really liked the chunk I played, but you'll have to wait a little longer. That game's been pushed back one more time. It's been delayed before. April 25th is
good.
its new release date.
That's a good window.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Not much in April.
Right? Yeah, there's not much.
We got a couple like solid AA games coming out. We got Ukulele. We got a game we're going to bring up next.
Yes.
I think this really rad indie game from some of the Tequila Works developers called Sexy Brutale is coming out, which is sort of a cool puzzly
April?
time travel game. I believe it's April. Yeah. So it's going to be one of those good times for everyone to catch up on all the giant Personas coming out. That's PS4. or,
Yeah, not on Xbox.
Yeah, but I forgot about that. Sorry, guys.
Wrong show, Mark.
Sorry. Xbox has so many JRPGs though. Lost Odyssey.
I'm actually really sad about that. I loved Persona 4
It's
Golden.
backwards
I wish I
compatible.
could-
Great.
Yeah, that's right. But I think it's cool it's gonna be like a good time for everyone to be like, all those games you missed from the first insane quarter of the year, like if you didn't play Resident Evil, if you didn't play For Honor, if you didn't play Ghost Recon, sort of the calm before the storm of cool games in May.
Indeed. So you teased it, Marty. Voodoo Vince remastered. We were asking Phil about it, I think, towards the end of his time on the show last week, and he said that he thought we'd get a date this week.
Yeah.
He was right.
He was right. Yeah.
We got that, and it is April 18th for Voodoo Vince Remastered. And the game, it's got a nice price tag, $15.
Yeah. That's
You know,
another game
it's-
we're gonna be playing at PAX.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got some video on IGN now that we had exclusively from, I think it was January.
Yeah,
It was,
yeah.
it was a good little while ago now. But yeah, for those, I've been getting this a lot. A lot of people are like, oh, I've heard about Voodoo Vince, but never played it. What is it? It's a platformer. It's a character mascot-y platformer, but really cool art direction, great music, sort of New Orleans jazz, kind of fitting with the whole theme. And honestly, the game, it wasn't a 9 or a 10 or anything like that when it came out. It was like a solid 8. It's a really, really solid, great game that, it'll be nice to fire it up again here after 12 plus years or whatever.
Like we've been saying, like this sort of oncoming wave of colorful character platformers resurging with Ukulele. There's this really cool indie game called Snake Pass that I played, which is some former Rare Folk and also Sumo Digital. Snake Pass, yeah. It's sort of like a physics-based, very, very physics-based 3D platformer, which is really cool. Also coming out in April. And then obviously we're going to have Psychonauts 2 next year and Mario in the fall. So good times.
Oh my God, Mario.
Yeah.
He's not green. We can't talk about him. You can't talk about Luigi.
Mario is universal.
No, it's green. Talk about green things. We can talk about the Irish. We can talk about Luigi.
I am Irish.
Good.
talk
I'm
about
really
that.
excited about Ryan.
Yeah, Rhyme. Thank you, Destin. Well, Marty, you just
Yeah.
mentioned Tequila Works. Actually, this is
Couple games in the
Tequila
works.
Works' other game.
I like how they went like silent since Deadlight, which was a 360 XBLA game
In 2013.
in 2013, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, we're releasing 2 games
Or
within
wait,
3
might have
weeks.
even been 2012. Jeez.
I think it was 2012.
No,
I
it
think
was 2012.
I reviewed it at One Up.
It was when I started working here.
Yep.
When I
What?
started working.
Yeah,
Wow.
It was one of the first games I reviewed for IGN.
both reviewed it. Saboteur. I have no
What'd you give
recollection.
it?
I have no idea. I don't even know what we gave things like wing. I gave it 7 wingdings out of 8 or something.
Wait, you reviewed it for One Up? For One Up?
And he reviewed for IGN.
Yeah, you guys did not. You
we used the letter
A,
score.
B, C.
I
Yeah,
think I gave like a B plus. Seems like something I would do.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
I remember
It's
that.
had that
Pip
crappy
call.
sewer mission in the middle of the game.
Oh,
the rest of it was
God,
awesome.
that was such a bummer.
But the rest of it was so good.
Yeah, totally.
So good. Anyway, Rhyme is their next game.
Yeah, it looks great.
Which, I've seen a lot of people down on this game because people are like, well, if Sony dropped it, it must be terrible.
No,
like,
that works.
That's not really how things go. There are a lot of factors that go into business decisions like that. Our IGN Spain team played this game and said it's real good, and there's the first 30-something minutes of it on IGN.
Looks awesome.
And it's got it's exactly the kind of game that I want to play. Like
I remember seeing it at E3 when they revealed the trailer. I think it was the same year.
Gamescom.
Gamescom.
It was
was it?
it was Gamescom on Sony stage
14.
2013, then 2014 again at Gamescom Sony stage, and
went
then it
silent.
went dark
Until January.
until us.
Until us, yeah.
I remember seeing the trailer at any rate and being like, "That looks really cool."
Yeah, it's like Studio Ghibli meets Eco meets The Witness. Like,
Yep.
real good stuff. Yeah, I hope it turns out well.
Yeah, so that's out May 26th, and that's going to be a $30 game. So got a fairly reasonable price on that one. So the spring's starting to fill in a bit, and then I know Destin is your big one. You're going to be looking at Injustice 2.
Oh, yeah, that's in May.
in early May, right?
Yeah.
So
Prey a couple weeks later.
Prey is first week of May.
I think it's
so
like Injustice, then Prey afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't remember
it
the
might
exact
be the other way
date.
around.
Might be?
I think Prey is like the first week of May,
Oh,
and
okay.
Injustice was the second.
I
week of
want to
May.
say Injustice is the 21st, but I don't know for sure.
I think it's the 12th. I think you might have.
12th? Okay.
That's what stands out in my head.
Because I remember your interview with Ed Boon. He was talking
Wait,
about
when does Injustice come out?
in May.
Oh, okay.
Later in May. Yeah.
Yeah. So plenty coming up. I gotta hurry up and get going on Zelda, and then I'm gonna be pausing Zelda to play Mass Effect because I don't want any spoilers for that game.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't want to be left
I
behind.
mean, that's the thing about us is that, like, in our office, like,
It's really hard. to
oh,
avoid.
man, it's
Yeah.
hard to avoid spoilers.
You got to
I
be like,
carpool in and I just put on my music.
yeah,
as
you
soon
just
as I
got
get
to
in
keep
the car.
like plugged in the whole time, or else someone will spoil it.
They're
Just
like
not even
a day
like
ahead on Zelda,
maliciously, but just
Yeah.
there's like, did you? What was it? Aransky got some movie spoiled for him like so poorly by Brian Malkowitz because Brian had just assumed that he had seen it since Aransky's a big movies guy. And he just walked up and was like, "Oh, ending of this so and so. What'd you think?" And he goes, "I did not know that," and that was just it was some movie. I
man.
can't remember the movie.
Alana
either.
spoiled the end of The Force Awakens to me on the Friday morning it came out because I was working the Thursday night beforehand, so I didn't get to go to the showing.
No.
She totally told me what happens with Kylo and Han, and I was like, "Yeah, I wasn't there with you last night." She's like,
Oh,
"Yeah, you weren't,
no.
were you?" I was
Oh,
like,
man.
"Nope." And then she
Brutal.
says, "I spoiled Terminator 2 for her."
I was gonna
When
say
I
you
said,
really paid her
20
back.
years
The
old.
robot
later.
died.
No, I said
And it's
that
not even
he's
really
the good guy in the movie, which I spoiled one moment. It's a cool moment in the movie where he pulls the gun out of the rose case, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, he's gonna shoot the kid," but he doesn't.
Yep.
Jesus.
Oh man, let's move on to the marketplace report. Sean Finnegan, we don't get to have you on quite as often.
That is true.
So take us through what we can spend our money on this week.
So at retail, we have Ghost Recon Wildlands, Lego Worlds, both at $30.
Nope. Go.
Oh.
It's only.
Why would you
I
have
only
only
note the
included
prices
one price?
Because if it's a normal
assume
price, it's
$60.
60.
Let me retract.
Yeah,
my statement
Sean,
then.
this
Jeez.
is your fault.
Great job choosing me on this, Ryan. It's been a disaster.
Oh, it's my fault
already.
now.
Yeah.
We'll never make that mistake again.
Ghost Recon Wildlands, $60, even
Thank
though the
you.
price is not noted here. And Lego Worlds, which is $30, and it is noted there. On digital, we have Sublevel
Doing it
Zero.
this way for like 4 years.
Well, I'm not on the show all that often, so
but you produce it and you have this file in front of you at all times.
I'm never listening at this part. Sublevel Zero Redux. Never really
Wow,
decided.
can't read.
I
This is
hate the name of every one of these games
Again.
except for our Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
yeah,
That's
that one's
$20. Verdun, at $12.
That's a World
We're done
War.
with this segment. Let's go.
It's a World War I first-person shooter, by the way.
We're done.
I'm dead serious.
Well,
Yeah.
I bet they're really going to eat Battlefield 1's meal.
God, this is terrible. WRC FIA 6 World Rally
No,
Championship.
you're done.
Gets
you don't get the
Cisco
big
in
games
here.
anymore.
Game's great.
Yeah, get Cisco in here.
Is that a racing game?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that a
Please get the next one right.
Rally racing.
Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, $25?
Dope
I actually
game.
played this
Pick
game.
it up.
Yeah, I played it on 360. It's really
Yeah.
cool.
This game should be. Is this game not backwards compatible? Because if that's the case, that sucks.
There's a
knows?
weird thing going on with the rights to the characters. So no, it's not.
That sucks.
They upgraded it on PS4 a while back, and now it's on Xbox One.
Balloons TD5.
What are you doing? What are
At
you doing?
$15.
What is that?
What is that?
Oh, let's get to this next
Indeed.
one. Look at this word.
Ikimu Splinters of the Dark Shard.
Oh, you nailed that.
All of you,
$5.
everyone who developed all these games are fired.
Or at least the marketing people who were like, let's name it this, that people will remember. Over on the
It
marketplace.
sounds like a bowel movement. Like the sound you make is iki moo, and then you
The
have
splinter of dark
shard.
dark shard.
It sounds painful. Over onto the marketplace, we have the playable demo of Halo Wars 2, which is the first campaign mission in the Blitz mode.
That's a smart way to get people in.
Yes. Hey, remember demos?
Yeah.
That game's really fun. I really hope more people give it a chance because, I took the time, I played through most of the campaign and really, really had a good time.
Yeah, it's fun. Talked about it a few weeks back.
Yeah.
Anything else?
We have games with gold.
Yes.
Layers of Fear, which is available on all of March on Xbox One.
And if you go to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/IGN Unlocked, you can watch a Let's Play. Alana and I played that the first 20 minutes.
Boom,
Game's
there you
very
go.
scary.
Check it out over there.
Bam.
We have Evolve Ultimate Edition, which is from March 16th to April 15th on Xbox One.
That one's weird because that one's free to play. So
I
what?
think it's just a bunch of the downloadable stuff.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like a bunch
Yeah.
of the stuff you would have to pay for.
Got it.
Borderlands 2, which is available from March 1st to the 15th on Xbox 360 and Xbox
Game
One.
rules.
Get it.
That is really cool. And
Disclosure,
Heavy,
Andrew Goldfarb worked at Gearbox.
yeah, Heavy Weapon, available from March 16th to the 31st on Xbox 360 and Xbox One.
Fantastic. All right, let's move on to trivia. And hilariously, did not paste in the winner this week.
Oops.
Yeah, I'll have to get it after the show because I don't have it in my phone.
Congrats to the person who sent this.
Yes,
question.
congrats. Thank you to the winner that will get something for this question. Back in the day, some DVDs came with content that was actually playable on other devices, such as an Xbox. One such DVD was Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. If you inserted the disc into an Xbox, it came with a playable demo of what Star Wars game was that demo of? Was it Star Wars Obi-Wan? Was it KOTOR 2? Was it Battlefront 2? Or Lego Star Wars? What do you say, guys?
All right.
I have
Got an answer.
thinking that's going into this, but I'm sure it will end up leading me astray. Who's going first?
We'll go Destin. I want to go last
Destin.
because I have logic.
All right. I don't know the answer, so I'm going to go with D for Destin.
Solid. Sean?
I'm going to go with B, KOTOR 2, because I believe that lines up with roughly when
Nope.
Revenge of the Sith would have come out.
Okay.
So Revenge of the Sith came out in May 2005, which means the DVD probably came out in the fall of 2005. Well, that doesn't help me because I don't remember when these games came out. That was my logic. I'm going to go with Battlefront 2 because there was some Revenge of the Sith
That was
stuff
my
there.
alternate guess. Good luck, Marty.
Thanks, man.
All right.
And it's competition.
And none of
Well,
us won it. It was
go-
crappy Star Wars Obi-Wan. Congrats. No, I didn't. That's not the actual answer. I mean, it could
Did
be.
somebody get it?
Yes, Marty did get it. It was
All
Battlefront.
right. Never wish me
Logic!
good luck.
Marty closing the gap.
We both had
2
the same
points.
logic.
Destin at
Yeah.
3
But
points.
It led me
All right.
as I predicted.
Alana with her 1 point gifted from Phil Spencer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, that works?
He said he wanted to give it to her. What
I
are we
can't
supposed
say
to do?
no to him.
If he could just stop inviting us to press conferences.
That's true. He could. He could ban us all.
Yeah.
So if you would like a shot at winning a prize, which is usually an Xbox game donated by sometimes publishers, sometimes you guys get extra codes and pre-orders or whatever it is. I appreciate you sending those in so that we can give them away to other folks who will put them to good use. Send your Xbox trivia question, include 4 multiple choice answers, and note the correct one in your email, and send that to unlocked@ign.com. Time to leave, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Destin, what are you working on?
I never know what camera to look at, and that's what I'm giggling about. There's
The
5
wide.
cameras.
Look at the wide.
I'm guessing this
Wide.
one.
Nope, now you're there.
Yeah,
Now you're
okay.
there.
Yeah.
That one?
Yeah,
All right. So anyway, on a serious note, last night we did something called the Bungie Bounty. It's something that the community gets to do sort of in coordination with Bungie, and people in Destiny can get an exclusive emblem. I just want to say thank you to Bungie for allowing us to do that. It was me, Fran, and CJ. And thank you to all the community members who were able to stop by. We did that on youtube.com/fireteamchat. My channel, twitch.tv/Destiny channel, and twitch.tv/FM3_. And everybody came out. It was really fun and an awesome community experience with Destiny. So thanks for that.
That's great. And then you've been very, very
Also,
hard at work.
I'm very sleep deprived. I've been working on Mass Effect.
Yeah, it's our IGN first for this month. So it is. We're really waiting until the last minute on this one.
Yeah.
But we're able to get a bunch of cool exclusive stuff. Our reviewer is not part of that stuff at all, so as to maintain that separation between the review process and this final blast of preview coverage. But yeah, you've been helping cut together and really producing some great features. You got the first 13 minutes of the game in there. You've got
BB's loyalty
mission, a tour of the Nexus that you put together.
And as a super fan, I understand how sensitive people are to spoilers, and I've been doing my best to keep it spoiler free so you can watch it. Obviously, the first 13 minutes is going to have spoilers.
But that's the first 13. I mean,
Well, that's a given, but the community has actually been, hey, we really appreciate that you're trying to be careful with this. So thank you for that also. And if you want to check it out, I totally get it. And if you don't because you want to avoid spoilers, that's fine too. Check it out after you get some hands-on time with the game.
Absolutely. Shark.
Follow me on Twitter at ShopByFinnegan. I'll be at PAX along with Marty and Alana this weekend. So if you see us there making content, come say hello.
Yeah.
And I also want to take this opportunity to promote a really cool thing that we did today, which is International Women's Day. We had a really awesome stream where a bunch of women from IGN, both here and abroad, got to play and talk about their favorite female-led games as well as other games. So if you want to check that out and see some faces you don't regularly see on IGN.com, that would be a great way to do it. And also to show your support for a lot of awesome women in our lives.
Yeah, that was awesome that we were able to get Lucy from AU and Alicia from the UK and Terry from LA and just all the rad women in the office here, a lot of whom aren't on camera a lot. So yeah,
there was a lot of positive support from the community about that too, and it's just really good, especially for the game space, which tends to be, I don't think I'm wrong in saying that in terms of the entertainment sphere, games tends to be one of the worst offenders in terms of representation and treatment of women. So it's good to see kind of an active initiative to kind of combat that.
Yeah.
So
and it's getting,
we were really
getting
happy to
better,
be a
and I
part
was
of
super
it.
proud. Yeah, I was super
Yeah.
proud of what we did today. Honestly, I just echo all that. You can find me on Twitter at Nick Biggity. Follow the two of us and Alana at Charlanazard for updates on PAX stuff. Where we're besides the two panels we mentioned, we're gonna be on the show floor. Alana and I are hosting and appearing on a bunch of different panels. So follow us. Say hi if you see us. Don't be scared. We don't bite.
Excellent. And you can find me on Twitter at DMC_Ryan. I reviewed Super Bomberman R for the Nintendo Switch because
We played that.
A, I wanted an excuse to be part of the Nintendo Switch coverage, but B, I've loved Bomberman for 20 years.
Yeah.
And so I was more than happy to review that game.
What did you think of what was it? Bomberman Act Zero?
Oh, I reviewed it.
Oh, no.
That was an early 360 game. That was a gritty take on Bomberman.
what is that?
It was
Take on
In a dark world.
you
just
never
amazing.
speak of it again. That's
Yeah.
all I ask
It is
of you.
abhorrent.
It's it's every bad decision you could if designing
this
a
with
Bomberman
blanks.
game, if designing a Bomberman game is a series of let's say 100 decisions, you make the wrong decision 100 of those times. That's what Bomberman Act Zero is. It's so bad. But Super Bomberman R for the Switch, not that bad. It's okay. It's not great. I have some issues with it, but there is core fun Bomberman in there as well. So
would
don't
you
get me wrong on that. 6.2
Yeah, there you
is
go.
what I went with on that. And then I'm also, this is a little more of interest, I think, to the Xbox audience. If you have a Switch or planning to get one, I'm actually reviewing the Pro Controller as well because
I
for
just got
me,
mine.
for me, I knew that I would probably want to play a real game like Zelda and then Mario after that later this fall with a proper controller. So I'm gonna look for my review on that coming up soonish. But my early impressions are, I ordered it. I paid the $70 through gritted teeth. Like, oh, that's so expensive, and
Yeah,
I
that's crazy.
hated doing it. but I think the highest compliment I can pay it so far is like ergonomically, it feels almost identical to a 360 controller.
Yeah.
Like
That's
it's right there, so it feels really good. So I'll
No need to
get
reinvent
that
the wheel.
forward to you done.
I got mine yesterday. I'd been playing on the
say
Joy-Cons
of
docked,
Nintendo.
and it just
always
felt
reinvents the wheel.
off. You get that controller, feels like you're at home.
Yes.
You're just like, this feels right,
Yeah.
and you can play Zelda on it, and it's fantastic.
It is true.
I don't have a pro controller, and I don't mind playing on the Joy-Cons.
I'm not
fine.
saying they're terrible.
No,
I'm
no,
just
no,
saying
no. Yeah.
the controller feels great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was afraid that I wasn't gonna like the feel of the Joy-Con grip. I was like, I don't know about this. So that was part of my other reasoning for ordering the Pro controller.
I had the same feeling, but I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I'm okay with the grip, but I am
Also, I
very
don't
much-
have like huge hands is the other thing. Like I know I saw a photo of like Duggan or Jose tweeting out photos of how little the Joy-Con grip looks in their hands, and I'm like, if my hands were that huge.
Yeah,
like,
I got
ogre
my,
hands,
I got my
then, yeah,
Switch
it might
today.
be
I'm
an
getting
issue.
ready. I got pretty big mitts, so
Yeah.
we're gonna see what happens.
More soon on Nintendo Voice Chat.
Yeah, anyway, Xbox.
Sorry.
No, yeah, we're done. Thank you all so much for tuning in each and every week. This was Unlocked, episode 286.
a lot.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.